I had to take a little bit of a break just to focus on moving everything to the new place, but I'm here now and I'm so ready to start making new videos and working on the Squareback again. Today I'm going to work on setting up the cooling run for my air compressor. Cooling run is a really cost-effective way to remove moisture from compressed air. And the reason you don't want moisture in that air is because, for one thing, it's possibly going to damage any tools you're running on that compressor. And two, which is probably the most important thing, if you're doing any paint work, even primer, you want to remove that moisture from that air because it's going to end up in the paint and that's going to create a less than ideal paint environment. Thankfully, I was able to grab my complete setup from the old place and put it in the new garage. It was a mission to move though, let me tell you that. I have my 60-gallon air compressor, my air regulator, air filter, and moisture separator, and also all my old copper piping and valves. I also picked up a bunch of new copper piping as well, just to make sure I have enough material to make the cooling run. We're going to be putting the run on this wall above the air compressor. It's going to be fairly compact, but it's going to have multiple bends to try to fit a lot of copper pipe in a small amount of space. I'm also going to try to do something kind of trick. I'm going to try to mount shelves in front of the cooling run so that I can maximize the use of the space. I think that's a good way to do it, so we're not really losing any shelf space, and I still get to mount my cooling run up there. Shelves are up. It's a little bit disappointing because the shelf brackets that I bought are actually at a slightly different angle than the ones that are already on the wall, but it's really not that big of a deal. These are kind of like extra shelves that I wasn't originally expecting to have. So the whole point of putting these up now so that I can know where to route the copper cooling line. Now that I know where they're at, I can work around them. I'm going to pull off the shelving material and we'll just work around the brackets. If you're looking for good information on cooling run setup, there's plenty of stuff available online, but I think it's interesting to note that if you buy the infamous Harbor Freight purple gun, there's a lot of good info in the pamphlet that comes with it, and there's also good stuff on like paint gun setup and spraying technique. I was surprised at how good the info was in this purple gun kit. If you're enjoying watching this video, consider liking and subscribing to follow along with the builds and maybe get some motivation for your own project. Back to the show. I need to be careful because the new driveway is a lot steeper than the old driveway, and I actually can't push this car up the driveway by myself like I used to be able to. So for a second I almost let the car go down the drive. That was really close. I still have the e-brake and I can put it in the gear, it'd be okay, but it's just it's a little bit sketchy and it's a little bit frustrating not being able to roll it out there. But anyway, all good. I got the car over. We have a little more space over here. Let's get to brazing that pipe. sidetrack. A older couple walked by. The gentleman was from Germany and his wife was from Sweden, and he was telling me about his 65 Volkswagen Squareback he bought brand new back in the 60s, special import to the United States. Thought that was pretty cool. I didn't want to bust out the camera at the time, but I think they'll be walking by a bunch, so we'll catch them again sometime. I didn't make enough progress yesterday. I was really hoping to get more done. So I started soldering the first length of pipe. The first two joints went fairly well. When I went to do this horizontal crossover piece, I kept having problems with it tilting and being pointed in the wrong direction once it got hot. I also felt like I was having an issue because I'm using brush-on flux and I'm using flux core solder when I should be using solid core solder. So I was just getting too much flux and it was making a mess and it just wasn't looking good. So today I'm gonna run to the hardware store. We're gonna get some solid core flux. I think I'm gonna end up soldering most of this on the wall while it's attached to the wall so it can't really tilt around. It's a little bit harder to work up on a ladder and close to the wall, but I won't be having the issue of things moving around on me. There's a bunch of stuff I haven't shown you guys in here yet. One cool thing I did get that I want to show you that we're gonna try out today. I made kind of an extravagant purchase and I bought this AC unit. It's a dual hose AC. I feel like I spent too much money on it, but we have been having heat waves, so I'm hoping that this will help keep things cool in here. This will be my first time really trying it out and running it all day. Hopefully it helps keep things cool. We're also gonna do a bunch of insulation in here. I think I'm also gonna put some insulation on this door today because I know we're getting a lot of heat from the sun coming through that door. Have an insulated door. I think that should really help on these hot days where the garage gets really hot. I've also been running the AC since this morning and so far I'm actually pretty happy with it. It does seem like it's actually helping and it's not crazy hot in here yet. That buyer's remorse is not feeling as intense right now, but we'll see how this thing plays out. I just want to show you guys why you should always do good prep before you paint. Because unfortunately, whoever painted this garage didn't do a great job painting. They probably didn't do great prep. Like maybe the wall was really dirty. It's unfortunately peeling up all the paint on the garage. I thought it was a good moment learning for doing good paint prep. This shouldn't be happening. Accidentally used a little bit too much solder and it dripped right into the joint so that I'm not going to be able to fit the pipe into this junction. Let's see if you can see it. So I'm going to put some heat on it and see if I can get it to just flow back into it. Let's give it a shot. need your help, folks. What engine do you want to see go in the Squareback? Stock 1600, 1776, 1914, Subaru transplant? Drop a comment and let me know. Back to the show. I ran into a little bit of an issue. I have this drain line right here for the cooling run, and unfortunately it's running into the conduit for my electrical. I had a few choices. I could either shorten the pipe for the drain, but that would place the drain outlet right above the conduit. The other idea I had was to put little spacers on the cooling run right above the drain, and that would push it out like this. That would actually be totally fine, but I think it would be a little bit cleaner if instead of that, I didn't use any spacers and I installed this little angle piece in the line above the drain. On a bright note, the air conditioner performed really well yesterday. It wasn't cold, but it was at a perfect temperature all day for me to work, and it was a hot day. Just got the weirdest cut. The end of the copper dug into my hand, and like the burr on it cut into the palm of my hand. Go. Moment of truth. Fingers crossed all goes well. Well, that was kind of a letdown. I don't know if you can hear it on camera, but the air compressor is leaking, and it's leaking out of the drain valve. Now, I believe I left the valve open right before I moved it because I was draining any moisture out of it. And when I went to turn on the air compressor today, it was leaking out the valve when it started pumping up. So I went to close the valve, but there's a point where it stops when you're screwing it in or unscrewing it, and it's no longer stopping at that point. So whatever mechanism is in there is broken off. And basically, long story short, it's not sealing anymore. So unfortunately, I can't fill the system up with air right now, and I have to get a new drain valve for the air compressor. Other than that, other than the air compressor failure, this was my first time using this new electrical for the air compressor, and that seems to be working well. It's also not as loud as I thought it was going to be. That's a big win for today. Getting the cooling run up is a big win, just getting this stuff in place. I need to get the shelves up. All I have to do is notch out those spots where the copper pipes touch the back of the shelves. Other than the air compressor leak, I feel really good about the work I've done here today. check out. There's another place that says they have it in stock, so we're gonna head over there real quick. Got it. It's an upgrade too. This one looks a little bit better than the old one, so hopefully it should last a lot longer. I'm going to use this caulk cord weather seal to seal up my air conditioner hoses, but it's also dual purpose because this is what Type 3s use to seal up the rear taillight lenses. If you buy this from or any other part supplier, they're literally going to send you pieces of this weather seal. So for $5, I have 90 feet of this. Round two. Let's try this again. I'm up and running. The drain valve seems to be holding air just fine, and the system sounds good. I'm so stoked. It's a big relief to have this set up at the new place. This was maybe the most difficult thing to get moved over here, just because the air compressor is such a big item, and the system to go along with it is just, it's a lot to deal with, but I'm really glad to have it set up. I'm also really digging having the shelves mounted in front of the cooling run. I think that's a great way to do it. It really helps make the most out of the space that I have. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, consider hitting that like button. And if you want to follow along with the builds and maybe get some motivation for your own project, consider subscribing. And also, drop a comment if you feel like it and I will get back to you. Someone recently mentioned that they missed the old outro, so I'll work it in a little bit. I think I remember some of it. I think it was, I believe in you, you're beautiful, get to wrenching, Cobra Kai never dies. Peace. Fire season, baby.